Welcome back. Let's talk a bit of health. This month of July 2016 marks 2 years without a case of polio.
Although we still have a long way to go.
I should be celebrating because I have a sister who's a survivor. Now, this is an important milestone for the Polio Eradication Initiative and a major step towards polio-free certification for the country in 2017. According to the President, Muhammadu Buhari, we're committed to making the certification a reality by supporting routine immunization and revitalizing our primary health care system. Whew. Someone asked the question, are you serious? Hold on. I'm not the one asking the question. Someone asked me that question, actually. But we have guests in the studio who will help us really get to understand what it means to be polio-free and how we're going to get to that certification. Dr. Tunji Funsho is the chairman, Nigerian National Polio Plus Committee of the Rotary International. He's also a cardiologist physician. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Also here is Yomi Adewumi, who is the Vice Chairman Southwest of the Nigerian National Polio Plus Committee of Rotary International. Thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, polio is preventable.
That's
Dr.
right.
Funsho, you agree with
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Tell us the situation now as we start.
To make you appreciate the enormity of the progress we've made, let me take you back 30 years. I mean, when this Rotary International, started discussing with our partners about the possibility of eradicating polio, polio was ravaging about 125 countries in the world, and we were having 350,000 cases every year. Since that time, we've had ups and downs in the effort. We've gotten to the point now where we have just 2 countries. And so far this year, we've had only 19 cases of polio. At the same time last year, there are 34 cases. So right now, Nigeria happily has been without a case of polio since 24th of July, 2014. We continue to do the things we've always done, and I'll delve into that in more detail, later. But the status now is that we've been polio-free for 2 years and a few days, and we have only 2 countries left, and we have only 19 cases so far this year.
Okay, let me stay with you. In 2006, I think we had the highest cases then, over 1,000 in 1 year.
Precisely.
And then we moved down and down, and 2013 we had about 60, thereabouts, and then that 2014 we had about 6 cases.
Precisely.
Till now, that is the last one in Sumaila local government in Kano State.
Precisely.
How did we get here? How did we achieve this?
It's a combination of factors. I think the first, as I always say, they say you cannot shave a man's head in his absence, is the government's commitment. I mean, anything that has to do with a major health intervention, if the government doesn't buy into it and take ownership of it, it will not work. I think in the last, let me say, 10 years, the government had actually taken total control of, the program, in sense of making sure that government agencies buy into it and they work with it. The formation of the Presidential Task Force on Polio almost 4 years ago now by the government of President Jonathan, which now gave a lot of gusto and a lot of bite, to the program, made it very, very efficient. Because this was a task force that was set up by the President. The President was the chairman of that task force, and it involves senior traditional rulers, senior clergymen, the heads of all the partners, Rotary International, WHO, UNICEF, CDC, and the Gates Foundation, with an operational office where all the technical eggheads from all these partner agencies sit on a regular basis and discuss polio real time. And of course, the funding was also made available. That made all the difference. Currently, the President of President Muhammadu Buhari has expanded this task force to now include governors. because we have seen in some states that's the missing link. Some governors are not really, into, polio eradication. So to bring them in to the fold, the president, has now involved them in the Presidential Task Force on Polio. And of course, again, we also have the traditional institutions, mobilized as the Task Force of Traditional Leaders for Immunization and Polio. As you know, part of our issues in 2003, 2004 was, rejection, suspicion, and so on. Some bordered on religion, some bordered on tradition. So bringing together our traditional leadership, to be the advocates of polio immunization has helped tremendously to get us to where we are today.
Okay, that's very encouraging. And if I take it from what he said, supplementary immunization, routine immunization, reaching the hard-to-reach areas, better coordination and surveillance made all of the difference. But how can we ensure that we keep our eyes on the ball, especially in Northeast?
Well, to be wrong to say Northeast, really, though that's the epicenter of what we want to say is how do we keep our eyeball all over Nigeria? Because even in states, southern states, where we have not had polio for some time, has been the issue of complacency. And people feel that, why are you bothering us? We don't have polio. And you find out that if you don't, whether it's a polio case anywhere in the world, the whole world is threatened. So we have to ensure surveillance all over the country. And there are this issue of pronged attack. The first is the issue of surveillance all over the country. And as the chairman said, the emergency operation centers, which has its headquarters in Abuja, and state centers in those center states are usually working. And we have what we call the labs in 2 states of the country, in Ibadan, in Ibadan and in the Northeast, where these tests are taken regularly all over to ensure that the issue of resurgence of polio is reduced. The second issue is advocacy, creating awareness among people. Now, even though we have stopped the endemic nature of polio, there is still need for us to ensure that we are polio free, and that takes 3 years. By this time next year, we should be singing hallelujah. But before then, we must let people know that we are still not yet out of the...
What's the possibility of a relapse after we get that certification in 2007?
The possibility of relapse is that if you don't do a routine immunization, because we are seeing that polio is prevalent among 0 to 5 years. All mothers, all newborn babies must be given opportunity to be immunized against polio and other childhood diseases. So if
let me jump in, because you're talking about the possibility. You remember, just late last year, Ukraine, that had been polio free for more than a decade, had a case of polio. So the